Hello friends, Heidi here from Rain Country. God is good all the time, and I'm here for another Monday This and That video where I talk about several different topics, giving you current updates, whether it be on the garden or things that I'm making or creating or experimenting with, or answering questions that have come in within the past week, and whatever else I feel like talking about. So let's get to the topics of today, starting off with what I am dehydrating this week. So a couple of these I'm just starting on today, and that would be the yarrow leaves. This is all I cut today because they're just coming in. I got a couple that are shooting up, so I'm going to try to keep them cut down without taking out too much at a time because I would like to get flowers from them. The valerian leaves, which is one of the herbs I use in my pain extract, which I'll link to in the description box down below. I always call it pain, but it's also good to help relax the muscles, the mind, and to alleviate inflammation. And then the lovage. So I've been putting up the lovage. I just started on this. This is my third batch that I've picked. It doesn't look like a ton yet because they're still real early, but they're putting out a lot of leaves, and I'm going to pretty much keep them mowed down through the season because this is going to be one of the other main herbs I'll be adding to my greens blend, along with the nettle and the dandelion leaves and the nori that I've started adding. The nori being the only thing not from my garden. So lovage is very high in quercetin. It is the second highest food that you can find that has a good amount of quercetin, which is one of the reasons I really want to incorporate it. It is very closely related to celery. It is a perennial that comes back every year, gets bigger every year, and it has the taste of celery, but as the plant gets bigger, the leaves get bigger, the taste of that gets very, very strong. So some may not like the very strong celery flavor, but it's definitely good for adding to any dish that you want celery in. And in that case, I like to use the stalks. So right here, I have, some of this is a blend from last year, and this year, I'm just going to fill up this jar, and this is the dried cut up stalks that I use as celery in soups, sauces, and more. And then here are the leaves I've put up so far this year, just getting started. There was actually more, but I accidentally mixed it with the lemon balm that I was also dehydrating when I was all done. I wasn't paying attention, mixed them all together, and I'm like, well, I'm actually using it as a tea, and it's not bad. Lemon balm lovage leaf tea, it's different, but it's not terrible. So I'm just going to go ahead and use it up because it's good, healthy stuff right there. And the yarrow, by the way, is one that I typically use in my healing salve, though I don't remember if I mentioned it in the last video because a lot of my original yarrow plants completely died and I had to start over. So these are second year plants right here. But yes, this is an excellent one to add to your healing salve. Yarrow has got a great many health benefits for both internal use and external. I have videos on all three of these, the yarrow, the lovage, and the valerian, and the benefits and uses of these. And I do sell seeds for all three of these. Now, the other thing I'm dehydrating this week are the grapefruit peels. Now, I won't be using this in flavoring the way I do the mandarin peels, because the mandarin peels, like these here, where they're actually kind of orangish on the inside, are the best for powdering up and using for flavoring. So that's what I'm doing with these. But the grapefruit peels, just too bitter unless you're going to go through the trouble of removing all the pith. Not doing that. I have other uses though, and besides starting the vinegars like I showed you last week back here for cleaning, since it will be a very bitter vinegar, this will be for cleaning purposes and will still have a great smell. This is something you can also add once you powder it up to your homemade soap. So one of the soaps, there's two different grapefruit soaps I like to make, and one is grapefruit rosemary and the other one is grapefruit vanilla. I usually throw some dandelion flowers, dried dandelion flowers in there too. You just powder it up the best you can and put that into the soap. And it adds texture, which makes it really good for scrubbing with, you know, kind of exfoliating. I love it when my soaps have stuff like that in it. And you can also do the same with the orange peels. And I have, back when I was making and selling lots of soap, I would do an orange vanilla soap, and I would use orange peels. I just say orange, and that's referring to any orange-like fruit, citrus. So that's what I'm doing right now, but I did shoot a video that will be publishing in several weeks out about the uses for your grapefruit peels. If you love grapefruit, you end up with all these peels. What are some various different ways you can use them? So you might be interested in that video. I already have one on the benefits and uses, mostly of orange peels in that, but this one is specifically on grapefruit peels. And since I don't use them all the same way as the other peels, the orange peels, that's why I wanted to do a separate video on those. So be watching for that in the future here. So now let's move on, talk a little bit about my recent Azure Standard order. One thing I decided to try from them, I always try to pick something new to try that I order from them. And I got some of the organic carob baking chips to try. I am not a massive fan of carob, but I don't mind it. I remember in my much younger years eating some carob something that I actually kind of liked. I just don't remember what it was. And I will say I actually like these. They're a nice snack that's going to be on the healthier side that you can add to if you like the taste of carob. It is definitely its own unique flavor. I would not say it replaces chocolate. For some people it might. But it has its own health benefits, that though chocolate has a lot of great health benefits, which I'll link to the video I did on that down below as well. But carob also does. I haven't done a video on that because I always forget it's a thing that even exists until I saw it. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to try some carob. And I do like these. They taste good with coffee, and just a small handful of it. And the nice thing about these is they have coconut sugar in them, is the sweetener, and they're not super sweet. So if you like carob, or you just want to try something different other than chocolate, maybe you can't have chocolate for whatever reason, carob is a good option right there. And then I got myself some more Brazil nuts, and I only bought the 2-pound bag this time because I found the 2-pound bags were actually cheaper per pound than their 5-pound bag. And so I just bought one 2-pound bag, and I wanted to see how many jars I could fill up. And that 2-pound bag will fill up just a little better than 1.5 quart jars. And these are vacuum sealed. I will be opening this up because I'll be ordering another 2-pound bag now that I know how much it fills up. So I'll fill up another jar, finish topping off this jar, and then just use the rest right away. Because I'll probably, when you look at that, it's just almost 2/3 full. And as I've said before, when it comes to vacuum sealing up nuts or any fatty foods, things that are not only on the more expensive side, more precious side, but also because they might have fats in them, like your meats that I leave the fats in, or nuts and seeds. From now on, I will only ever use Superb lids. And I recycle the lids for this because when it comes to, well, canning as well as vacuum sealing, they have the best seal. These are far less likely to come unsealed in storage than your ball, Kerr, or any other metal lid. And definitely for vacuum sealing, the Tatler or Harvest Guard lids, I do not recommend using those at all for vacuum sealing. They're just, you might get them to seal, but your chances of losing that seal in storage are pretty high compared to your metal lids, but especially compared to the Superb, because I have yet to have a vacuum sealed Superb lid come unsealed where any of my other ones have. And yes, I did end up with some 4 jars lids that I did not ask for that were brand new. The company sent them to me. But as you know, as anyone who's following me know, I will never buy them. I will never buy them because they try to hide the fact that they're made in China, which they are, and a lot of people don't even realize that. And I've covered this before, and it irritates me the way they, even on their own website, the way they try to sneakily word things in such a way to divert your attention from the actual question, and they don't actually answer the question. So to me, it's the dishonesty. If a company has made in China, whatever, it is what it is. Sometimes you do the best you can, but when they try to hide it, it's the deception. It's a deception. Well, I'll never buy lids from them. But Superb, they're all I used last canning season and didn't have one single failure. I've never had that good of results with any other kind of lid. That not one single failure out of all of the many jars I canned up. It was amazing. So they're the only lid if I ever have to buy more, they're the only lid I will buy. And by the way, because of that, I'm so sold on them. I'm now an affiliate with Superb, and I can give you a 20% discount. I know some people are like, oh, I can buy this in the local store. Well, guess what? I can give you a 20% discount. And here's the added benefit is that when you purchase through my link, it actually does help us out. We make a commission off that. It's about a 10% commission, which is half of the discount price you get when you order through our link. But it adds up and it really does help us out. And I appreciate everyone who uses our affiliate links to purchase anything they're going to need. I don't try to push people to buy something they don't need, but if it's something you need and I have the link for it, please feel free to use our links because they really do help us out financially and kind of keep my channel going, especially since YouTube has just cut my pay down to 1/6 of what it once was. But the other thing to know too is any Amazon link, some people don't realize this, any of the Amazon links I provide, they're all affiliate links, but also to know anything else you purchase through that link, even if you don't buy the product that I linked you to, you put anything else in your cart in that shopping session, we still get credit for it. So it's a pretty cool setup that way. That's what I like about that. But I also do have the Azure Standard. It's more of a referral link. And so what I get is a credit to my Azure account when people order at least $100 or more through my Azure link. But anyway, so yeah, they're the only place now I get my grains, most of my baking supplies, and nuts and seeds, even seeds for planting in the garden. And by the way, the yarrow, I actually bought it as starts last year. I did start some plants from my own seed, but I also went ahead and bought some starts from them last year. And that's what these are from, and they're doing beautifully. Now, a question I get quite frequently is people might hear me say in videos in passing, and they might be newer to my channel about how, getting off the thyroid medication and all that. And we've been off the thyroid medication since, I'm thinking it's 2012. Yeah, so it's been about 14 years now. And people assume that I make my own thyroid medication or something like that. No, it was a series of things that we did. Foods and herbs that we added to our diet and other things, toxins that we hadn't really thought about, even though we always tried to eat pretty healthy. We did eliminate certain other toxins from our diet and then did a few other temporary changes while we weaned ourselves off the thyroid medication. So if you've never seen our videos on this, Patrick and I shot one in 2018 that I'll link to down below. I like to point that out because at the time I was saying, we've been off the thyroid medication for X amount of years, like would have been, 6 years at that point that we had been off. But it's been a lot longer now because that video's 8 years old. So just so you know that. And anyway, I'll link to that down below. It's mostly our story. We share about our own journey, and then I also go into detail along with a list that I typed up of the dietary changes we made. So we didn't make a thyroid medication replacement. We just started doing different things to help give us healthy thyroid glands, to boost them back to what they should be, help them heal, etc., so we could get off the medication. And I always try to explain clearly that this was hypothyroidism, so low thyroid. And also the fact that we still have our thyroid glands. We didn't have them removed. I cannot say what we did is going to work for everyone, even if you still have your thyroid gland. They're just our own testimonials. And I also did an update to that in 2022 that I'll also link to down below, where I go over just a little bit of information about hyperthyroidism and Hashimoto's, just a little bit, because that's not what we had. So I don't have direct experience with that, just with the low thyroid. But I still looked into it a little bit so I could provide a little bit more information, which, by the way, come to find out, it sounds like lemon balm really doesn't slow your thyroid like they've been telling us. I should do some deeper research on that, but that was what I had read originally. Sometimes you really just can't always trust everything you read. And then the other thing I want to approach for like the billionth time, but there's always, again, always new people. So last week I was talking about how I do provide written recipes in the early stages of my channel. That's not what my channel was about. It was about showing people how to do things. Since I really don't often use recipes, I just make stuff. Then people started demanding written recipes. So I started through the years taking more time to try to remember how I did something, type it up, and provide it, either the whole written recipe directly in the description box right below the video, or to the link to our free being the key word here, Patreon, where I have the recipe typed up with a link to the video and images to show as well. So there's several different ways now that I provide the written recipe for free. Okay. None of my content I put out, none of it. It doesn't matter if it's on Patreon, Rumble, YouTube, any other social media site, Substack, everything is free. I lock nothing down. I don't have members only setups. I just offer everything for free. How we earn an income is from you watching our videos or purchasing things through our links, or even purchasing the products we sell, such as our seeds, my skin cream, and a few other items. So that's how we make money off of the channel. But I still want to have all my information for free for everyone. So with that said, I know I'm repeating myself. Every time I say anything about recipes or whatever, there's always going to be someone that comes in and say, it's time for you to start writing a book. You need to write a book. Some people will ask, hey, do you have a book, or will you ever write a book? But when people start telling me what I should do, I tend to it kind of ruffles my feathers a little bit. I'm sorry. I know people probably don't mean it that way. But the thing is, I have absolutely no intention of ever writing a book. I've already got my information out there for free. And guess what's nice about that is I can always go edit it for free and not have to force you to buy a book again, because now I've come up with a better, easier way to do things, because things change all the time. And so if I want to go change a recipe, or say, here's a better ingredient or a better way to do this, I can retype it or reshoot a video and then put it out there for free. The way I'm always changing and editing things, I would have to write a new book every year. And I don't even have the time for one, or the desire for writing a book. In fact, I'm the kind of person that, and I'm sorry, the more people try to push me to do something, especially something I don't want to do, the more I will stop saying, well, maybe someday, and then start switching to, which I've already done, never going to happen. I shouldn't say never, though, because who knows? God may have other plans for me down the road, but I'm not making any promises, because at this point in my life, I have too many other things on my plate. My grandbabies are far more important to me than writing a book. And so it's not going to happen. However, I offer this information for free to anyone who wants it, and you can share it with other people and for free. And it costs them nothing too, other than the time it takes to either read the recipe or listen to the video, or both. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed my this and that for the week. Any thoughts, ideas you'd like to share, please put those in comments down below. And thanks for watching. Take care and God bless.